Those who work in operational sites must be courageous and determined. They must be prepared to face any risks and dangers. Civilians present in areas of conflict, such as journalists or linguistic mediators, can work in different ways in zones of operation. They may have potential or actual ties with military personnel. Although interpreters who work in areas of conflict are considered minor figures compared to journalists or peacekeepers, they undoubtedly play a crucial role in these zones. What emerges from the analysis on the legal status of the interpreter is the lack of legal independence of these subjects. In addition, they are not considered as relevant as the figure of the journalist. Although there are international documents, such as the Additional Protocol 1 to the Geneva Convention of 1977, which emphasize the need to protect journalists and media operators in areas of conflict, there is no clear reference to the figure of the interpreter. Moreover, it is important to underline that more and more deaths are occurring, particularly among journalists and individuals providing linguistic mediation. Once captured, the interpreter might appeal to the Fourth Geneva Convention of August 12, 1949. This figure can be also involved in post-war conflict, where peace must be restored. Another problem that the interpreter could face is the possible duty to testify regarding international crimes before International Criminal Court. In this case, the safety of the interpreter may be put in jeopardy when the parties of the conflict identify him or her as an unconformable witness. Once having returned home, both civilians and military personnel can suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. They have difficulties in controlling their actions and emotions, such as nervousness and sudden anger. They can also suffer from anxiety or insomnia, and in some cases even commit suicide. For this reason, many of them must urgently see a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Furthermore, the patients in these cases essentially undergo pharmacological and psychotherapeutic treatment. In this way, they learn how to manage anxiety and depression and change dangerous behaviors. The circulation of news has had strong influence in warfare. It is important to say that wars are not only fought with military weapons, but mainly through communication and information. For example, the Gulf War 1990-1991, also known as the First Gulf War, is the conflict that opposed Iraq to a coalition of 37 states formed under the aegis of the UN and led by the United States. The Operation Desert Storm started on January 17, 1991, and it was broadcasted live on TV all around the world. Thanks to the live broadcast of the U.S. television channel, the whole world could hear the sound of bombing commanded by the three reporters. The Israeli invasion of Lebanon, which began in June 1982, represented the culmination of a long crisis that lasted 4 years. On August 21st, the first international contingent arrived in Beirut. It was made up of the French, and within the next 2 days, Italian and American soldiers took position in the town. The Lebanon War ended in October 1989 with the Taif Agreements. The United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon had to intervene in a joint mission in the southern part of the country. Italy has actively participated in this multinational force since 1978, operating in the Blue Line, that is to say, between Lebanon and Israel. Al-Manar, which in Arabic means lighthouse, better known as the Television of Resistance, is an Arabic satellite channel closely associated with the Lebanese movement of Hezbollah. It supports suicide missions against Israel. We must reflect on the strong relationship that the channel Al-Manar has with the movement of Hezbollah. This is a channel through which this movement seeks to raise awareness among the Muslim population concerning topics of utmost importance. Hezbollah has spread its ideas through the dissemination and information aimed at influencing public opinion. The civil-military cooperation projects indicate the coordination and cooperation between the military and the civilian organizations in area involved in a military operation. The goal of these projects is to maintain full cooperation between the military and the civilian component in order to create the necessary conditions to facilitate the achievement of the mission. These projects are carried out in many operation sites. In Lebanon, there are still a lot of projects in favor of the population, and they are carried out by the Italian peacekeepers of the Joint Task Force of Lebanon with the collaboration of Granatieri Brigade of Sardinia. In Italy, the work of our soldiers abroad is not recounted with the proper importance that it deserves. There are many favorable and non-favorable opinions on peacekeeping missions in which the Italian army is engaged in every day. There are about 8,500 Italian troops engaged in 30 international missions in 20 countries. Afghanistan is the nation that receives the greatest contribution from the national contingent. Afghanistan has seen its rebirth thanks to the intervention of various international forces that have restored peace and stability in the region. The Italian contingent was able to train and form a well-prepared Afghan army to cope with the various problems in the nations. Furthermore, the contingent has acted as a true peace mediator and has rebuilt the destroyed city, bringing many essential infrastructure, such as hospitals, schools, running water, to the poorest villages. There is a great interaction with the local people, and this also makes many of the soldiers peace, linguistic, and cultural mediators.